Is my microphone on? Tap tap. It's been a while. I don't remember how to do this. Do you?
It's been 3,000 years.
No, that's not good. That's before Cleopatra, I think.
Uh,
Uh,
the last time we recorded, the Yankees were still considered a good baseball team.
yeah, they are currently in last place in the American League
Yeah.
East Division at 5-8. Boston started the season getting swept by the Orioles 3 games, and then they were like, you know what? We're gonna win 9 games in a row, and now they're sitting at a nice 9-4 with a 3-game lead over the Jays, followed by the Orioles, and then at the bottom we have the Rays and the Yankees, who are fighting it out now. Currently nothing, bottom first, but first and third 2 outs. So
Yeah.
maybe there's some hope. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely worried. This is a team that's built for the long haul, and
Yeah.
and the thing I wouldn't be worried, but two things I am disappointed in is one, a lot of this is for the Yankees is terrible pitching performances, last night. Who puts last night looking at the box score? Who puts in a big divisional matchup? Who puts an opener with Nick Nelson to open the game, and then you have to get big outs by Luis Cessa, who I don't know why the Yankees still care a lot about him. Every time I see him on the mound, he does something. He has one inning that goes horrendously wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then why is Lucas Luetge on the roster? I know he pitched 4 innings and stuff, but who is this guy, and why is he getting all these big innings from the Yankees? And
I would have rather see Mike King just go out and start the game.
Yeah.
Let him throw some innings.
Yeah, and two, yeah. Well, that also that leads into they should have re-signed Tanaka. They should have just given him a check and said, here's how long we want you for. Sign how much you want. Have it and enjoy the next few days, instead of leaving him to be insulted a little bit and head back to Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's probably going to be one of the biggest Yankee misses of the 21st century, short of Tanaka signing turning into them losing out on Mike Trout.
Well, good thing they didn't re-sign Paxton.
Oh yeah, Paxton lasted all of 2 innings before needing Tommy John. So at least we didn't re-sign him. That turned into a good thing. And 2, the other thing, the complete imbalance of the Yankees lineup.
It's ridiculous. I was discussing this with my dad, as we normally do. There's no consistency in that lineup. I still think Boone just picks names out of a hat, besides having LeMahieu lead off.
Yeah.
But it's ridiculous.
I mean, there's consistency out of the lineup. You get LeMahieu, Judge, Torres is has
Judge consistent. He's injured like every 2 days.
when he's playing.
Yeah, when?
Yeah, Urshela, Gary has actually looked not that bad hitting wise.
But if you're gonna call him Gary, you have to say El Gary.
El Sanchez. Yeah, yeah. But the rest of the lineup, long swings, right-handed. No wonder that they get struggle sometimes, because the pitchers are seeing the same thing. If they're like, oh, it works for one person, let's work for the other person. So now, now they're having to go on the scrap heap and get Brugden Odor to be something different to look at. Remains to be seen whether it's a flash in the pan or a shrewd move like Urshela and Tauchman have been, but still, why didn't they go after some guys with different looks? I mean, I was laughed to out of town and back for saying that the Yankees should have traded Gleyber Torres for Francisco Lindor, and
I would have taken that.
Yeah, I would have taken that, because you have to. At some point, they need to say, we need to find a left-handed or switch hitter in this lineup, and you have, with how it's constructed, you have to make a sacrifice somewhere. That you either need to to move Glaber somewhere. You need to move Frazier somewhere. Or you
Well,
need,
we found out Urshela can play shortstop.
yeah, yeah, or Urshela or whatchamacallit, or Voigt, because you're not moving Judge. If you're moving Judge, you're making a mistake, because I think even with his injuries, you don't let him walk.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't let him walk,
I'd rather take
but
him.
I wouldn't give him a lot of I wouldn't give him like $30 million a year, though.
No, but he'd still be, his floor would be what they gave LeMahieu, I would think. Because even 80 games of Judge is still better than a lot of players' 162.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. Other than that, as I said, I'm not worried about them in the long haul. They'll right the ship. They usually what they do every year is they get off to a slow start. Then on their first road trip out of the AL East, they light a fire.
Yeah.
They win 3/4 of those games, and they carry that back to the East.
Yeah.
It's also 2 weeks into the season.
I mean, when we saw in 2017, they started off like 1-4 or whatever it was, and they won 100 games. I'm not saying that's going to happen this year, because they obviously started better than 1-4.
The 98 season, they started like 500, and then they finished with 114 wins.
Yeah. So, it like I've always said, baseball is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Yeah. Should you win all your games? Yeah, you want to try and do that, but sometimes you just can't win them all. I mean, we saw with the Nationals when they won the World Series, they were terrible, and then they turned it around.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried yet.
Speaking of the Nationals, not going at the Yankees are actually just the worst team in the American League. Guess who actually is the worst? The second worst team, the third worst actually. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm looking at the winning percentage, but the third worst team in baseball.
Guessing the Nationals.
You guessed it right, but we'll talk about them possibly later.
But back to the Yankees sort of depth chart. There's, out of all these high-profile names we have here, Cole, Chapman, Sanchez, Voigt, LeMahieu, Torres, Judge, Stanton. This goes on. There's one name I keep circling back to, and he's been in a bit of a funk these last couple of games, but I honestly think it's because of the inconsistency in this lineup that he's batting ninth, then jumped up to third, then dropped to sixth, playing in left, playing in right, DHing, not playing for 3 or 4 games in a row. It's Clint Frazier. Either he's a good player or he's not. Either he's a fit for the Yankees or he's not. Either play him or trade him. This isn't good for him. I don't know if Boone just doesn't like him, doesn't like his attitude. It looked like he tried to change it last year.
Yeah.
By being like the only player masking up for the longest time. So I don't know. Maybe he's still immature, or maybe it's just not his lifestyle to be a Yankee, and he wants to go to Boston, rock out some long hair and a beard, and just do what he does. I don't know, but they got to figure this problem out, because the loyalty to Brett Gardner, he's going to be gone eventually, unless if he wants to be Tom Brady without all the success.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's the problem of left field is the easiest place for Frazier to play. It's also the easiest place for Gardner to play. Yeah. And they need Gardner a lot because he's one of the few left-handed bats. Mm-hmm. Except now when he grounded out with the bases loaded in the first inning. So, Yay! Can't wait till next offseason when we sign him again for another year.
Yeah, hooray.
Yeah, speaking of New York teams, the Mets have gotten off to a rather unusual start, to say the least.
Well, they didn't, and then as we were talking the last time we recorded that they were postponed.
Well, let's go over their beginning of the schedule, shall we? So
let me pull that up here.
yes. So their first series was wiped out because the Nationals had an issue with COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
So that knocked out their first 3 games to be made up later in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Which robbed us of Scherzer and DeGrom.
yeah. Yeah. Then they played. They lost 2 out of 3 in their opening series with the Phillies, and played their first 2 games at home against the Marlins. Then this past week occurred, or this current week, I guess, but this week occurred.
I'm looking at the schedule. How do they have a tie against Miami?
Well, no, it's not a tie. It's top of the first, because on the 11th they sent Marcus Stroman to the mound.
Mm-hmm.
He threw 7 pitches, and then the umpires called the game because it was raining so hard and it got suspended. Why they didn't call the game from the get-go, I don't know, because it was raining all day on the 11th, and they just said, all right, let's throw it out. They threw 7 pitches, and then they just said, nope, we're not playing this game. They should have. Stroman was upset. The Mets were upset, and rightfully so. That was a fail on the grounds crew to say there's no chance you're going to play today.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rain continued into the 12th when the Phillies rolled into town. So they had to make that up the next day in a doubleheader.
Which is still dumb with the 7-inning thing.
It's what is for the moment. So they win the first 3 of that. Then the 15th is another. It rains again, so that's right now.
April showers bring May flowers.
Unless you're in Denver, which is where the Mets are now, and they rolled right into a snowstorm. So guess what happened on the 16th? So in the total,
They played.
Nope. That's postponed till today for yet another doubleheader. So
oh boy. That's probably a good thing for the Mets. In all honesty, they have DeGrom pitching. He'll pitch 7 shutout innings and still get the loss.
Yeah.
No, I think hopefully this will be a win for Colorado, for the Mets, to let DeGrom get that win, let him pitch, because their bullpen still sucks.
I mean, have you seen who has the worst record in all of baseball?
Colorado.
Colorado. But yeah, in the first 2 weeks, the Mets have played 1, 2, 3, 6. Have played 9 games. Have had 3 rainouts, 3 virus postponements, and a snowout. One of the most bizarre starts to a season you've seen in a while. I mean, there've been times where there've been excessive rainouts and snowstorms. The Indians in I think it was 06 or 07, they had to play one of their opening series in Milwaukee because the blizzard blanketed Cleveland for much of opening week, and of course there was last year with the virus upending the Cardinals and the Marlins at the beginning of the season. But it's still like all of this was not the Mets' fault. And it's a interesting way to start Steve Cohen's tenure and Francisco Lindor's time with the Mets.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our New York report. Other stuff in the NL East, just for our Mets fans. The Phillies are 7-6, which is a good start considering all things. The Marlins are 6-7. The Braves are 6-8, despite everything that Ronald Acuna Jr. has done, and the Nationals have gotten off to one of their patent-pending slow starts.
Can we talk about Ronald Acuna?
Yes, we can, because oh my God!
Let's just break this down. Go back. His first big league season, 2018. He played in 111 games. Only hit .293. Only. Only. Then the following year, he bumped it. He dropped a little bit, but he played more games. But so, learning curve, but still 280. That's still a respectable average. But that year he hit 41 home runs, 101 RBIs, and had 37 stolen bases. So he almost was in that rare 40 club.
Yeah.
Which nothing to really scoff at. And despite losing a little bit on the average, he increased his walk to strikeout ratio, so his on base only slipped 1/1000th of a point.
Yeah.
Last year, shortened season, I guess you get up to a slow start in 46 games. He hit 250, but he hit 14 home runs and had
eight stolen bases.
Yeah, so and his on base percentage was actually the highest it had ever been. So I think it was just a matter of the hits were just going to come, and oh boy, are the hits coming right now. I think he leads the majors in hits right now with 24.
You want to know what he leads the in majors? He's leading in home runs. He's leading in RBIs. He's leading in runs. He's probably. He would be up there. He's up there in average if it wasn't for Yermin Mercedes being the complete out of nowhere rookie.
I mean that'll probably come down. A 476 average is something you just don't sustain. I mean I don't think Acuna's going to sustain a 429 average either.
No, but he's leading in hits. He's third in doubles, stolen bases. He's stolen bases. It's still early out there, and
but he hasn't been caught yet. He's 3 stolen bases to nothing.
Yeah, people are praising that he's that his walk rate from last year, which he walked last year more than half. He walked the entire 2019 season. Is it a little early to say he is the Dominican Mike Trout yet? Because it certainly seems like he's going that way, and he's making me feel silly for not picking him first overall.
Yeah, well, I do want to talk about how that's been going because you picked Tatis #1 overall, but we'll get to him later. I mean, you said Dominican, right? He's Venezuelan.
Oh, he is.
The Dominican is Juan Soto.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about that.
Yes, we can.
Because he hit a whopping 351 last year in 47 games, missing like the first 2 weeks because of a false positive test. So he probably could have been MVP had he played another like 10 more games. But this year he's picking up just a tick slower than he was last year, only hitting 350 to 351 last year. He's got 7 walks to 6 strikeouts. Something he's been pretty good with, especially last year he had 41 walks to 28 strikeouts. Stolen bases aren't up there quite yet, but with an on-base percentage of almost 450, that is fantastic. Not as good as Ronald Acuna Jr.'s 484, but Soto is just another breed. He's cocky, he's good, and he loves to play the game to play the game.
Yeah. He is what baseball wants to advertise in their young people. Soto, Acuna, Tatis, Bellinger, partly and Lindor, partly because Mike Trout always did not want to be out there really over advertising himself. But these guys are certainly saying, yeah, we'll be the face of the league.
And they're so young too. These guys. I mean, Soto's only 22. Acuna's 23. Tatis is 22, something like that.
Yeah, Bellinger, who's the oldest, is 25.
Yeah, well, it's already shown he's got a hairline fracture.
Yeah, all right, he's already retirement age.
But just to sort of go from Acuna to Soto, we talked about how ridiculous some of their stat lines are right now. But have you seen Mike Trout's on-base percentage?
Yeah, it's crazy. Mike Trout's always like, yeah, you guys aren't Mike Trout. You guys saying you're the next Mike Trout, you're not yet Mike Trout.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. I mean, he might not be hitting as high as Acuna, but he's got a very respectable 386 average to go with a very modest 526 on base percentage.
Yeah.
he
And that's
his
even with his bizarre 4 strikeout game a few days ago.
Yeah, which he's got 13 walks to 16 strikeouts, so you take that away and he's doing a little bit better there.
Yeah.
No triples yet. That's the only real gripe on there because he's got 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, 17 hits in this young season. No stolen bases either. But Mike Trout's still doing Mike Trout things.
I mean, Trout doesn't run as much as he used to. The last time he stole more than 25 he's only since 2016 he's only stolen about 20 or so bases. 2019 he only stole 11, and last year he only stole 1. So he's probably at the point where he's slowing down a little. I wouldn't say more than 10 or 15.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're getting to a true 3-come outcome of baseball, stealing bases isn't really going to be his concern.
Yeah, I mean, plus he also he's a hit machine.
Yeah.
Home runs, RBIs, walks. He does at half the time he doesn't need the stolen base because it's either gone over the fence or he's on second already.
Yep. Or he's on second and the Angels can't get him in.
Which is usually the case.
Yeah. Which is crazy because if you look at his runs scored, he's got 129, 109, 115, 104, 123, a meager 92, 101, 110. Last year, 41 runs scored in 53 games played. He scored 12 times in 13 games. I mean, if the Angels were hitting better, he could literally have scored 150, 60 times in a season, which is insane.
At the least, they're off to a good start this year, an 8-5 record. But still, that in usual Angels fashion, that's not enough for the best record in the AL West. We'll get back to the AL Central at some point, but the best record in the AL West at this point is the Seattle Mariners. Which I always said that they have enough upside that if their cards play right, that they can take the crown from the Astros as they go through change. Considering the rest of the division, that who could dominate for the next half decade could be everyone that's not named the Texas Rangers.
And I do want to point out, though, with the Mariners, they might be 4 games over 500 here, but they do have a -7 run differential, and it's not like it was just one game. They lost they lost 2 out of 3 to Chicago, but those first 2 games, 6-0 and 10-4, that's -12 there. They did pick up the 3rd leg of the game with an 8-4 win. Then they went and lost to Minnesota in the first of 3 games, 10-2.
Yeah.
So it's not like, it was just one bad game like Ottavino had for the Yankees last year where his ERA was so high because of that. This has been 3 out of their, 12 games, a fourth of the games here.
Yeah.
That they're just not doing it right.
I mean, same with Yankees, that it's still early. There's time for that to be right. And even with Paxton throwing, getting 4 outs for the $10 million that they showed, they still got Justin Dunn has looked good, walks notwithstanding. Those have to come down a lot. Flexen has looked interesting early on. Sheffield and Kikuchi could turn it around. And more importantly, and what they had to work on from last year was abysmal hitting, which they had. Some of it's still injured, like this Rookie of the Year, Kyle Lewis is still hurt and hasn't played yet. But Ty France has looked good early on. J.P. Crawford has gotten to an early start, which is
Kyle Seager's been pretty good.
Kyle Seager's remembered he's he's probably going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Mitch Haniger. if the hitting can turn around from that horrendous performance last year when I think they were the worst hitting in the league, or if not, they were one of the worst. That they could at least be in that conversation. I can't say that they will stay there. I think the Angels will eventually overtake them, and the Astros the Astros and the A's are better than they look. Like the A's had bad luck getting the Astros and the Dodgers as their first two series.
Yeah.
And plus, their closer is probably done for most of the year, and when he comes back, who knows what it'll look like.
Yeah.
Guess who also drafted him? But we'll get to that later.
Yeah. Well, I guess to sort of finish off this American League here, just to jump back to the East or whatever, we said Tampa Bay and the Yankees were at the bottom of that division. We figured at the beginning of the year, starting spring training, that they would be at the top. So they're at the bottom. We have the Astros and Athletics, who we figured might be at the top, are sitting in third and fourth. And then we have the White Sox and the Twins, who we thought would be more towards the top, and they're sitting in third and fourth as well.
Yeah, but
what do you see happening there?
Nothing, because every team in the Central has either 6 or 7 wins.
Yeah.
That it's just the loss column. Like the Royals, I've always thought they were on the upswing starting for the end of their rebuild. They've looked rather interesting this year with their composition and lineup. So again, is it sustainable? Like the Mariners, probably not. But given the fact that that division is always a dog's breakfast, they could do something. I think the more standout performance is a team that does not is not going to do anything. The Tigers and their Rule 5 draft pick Akil Baddoo. That guy, my God, he has taken the hitting by storm that I haven't seen from a Rule 5 hitting pick since I think Dan Uggla, if I remember. But pulling up his page, he started off the season with his first home run. In 2 weeks' time, he's added a grand slam, a walk-off single against the Astros, a 450-foot home run off Zach Greinke, another home run. His first 29 plate appearances, he has an on-base percentage of 1.342, which is crazy. He's not going to help the Tigers on his own, but he certainly can help push their timeline back into contention up. Interesting. The only thing that knocks against him, he's taken exactly one walk.
Yeah.
That his on-base percentage needs working on, but if he can keep hitting like he has been, he can. Rougned Odor had a good time with a low on-base percentage. Same with a lot of other guys. So you can succeed with a low walk rate. It's a lot harder, but you can. But that'll be interesting to see. Of course, the White Sox. We'll talk about them. They've
the catcher.
Yeah, they went out and signed Yoan Moncada the other year, and then they find out, we have this guy, 27-year-old Yermin Mercedes, who has only proceeded to out-hit the entire league with a 476 batting average. You had Carlos Rodon come within one right foot of a perfect game.
Yeah.
You still have the reigning MVP in Jose Abreu, a bunch of young hitting talent. We still have to see how Andrew Vaughn plays out over a full season. And the Indians they find pitching out of a hat all the year. So
yeah,
Yeah, and the
I
Twins.
think this might be the most fun division this year to watch.
It's one of the.
It's the Central.
Yeah, I would say the East is going to be its normal self. It's going to right itself. The Yankees. The only difference is maybe the Blue Jays are more playing for second or first than they were.
You think Boston will drop to like third or fourth then?
Yeah, the Boston is. I've looked at their schedule. They are very much buoyed by a very easy schedule early on as I pull it up again. Schedule that the Red Sox their first series they play the White Sox and Blue Jays now, but then they in the next couple of weeks they face the Mariners, the Rangers, the Tigers, the Orioles, and the A's before they get their next hard stretch. So they can pick up a lot of wins easy on those, depending on how those teams falter.
Now, what I find like really funny, because I like looking at like the runs scored differential and whatnot. So Boston's like up and away with the plus 23, and the Blue Jays have a plus 8. Baltimore's got a minus 9. Tampa Bay's got a minus 18. Yankees at a minus 4. Now, this minus 18 and minus 4 are completely crazy, because if you look at the Yankees and Rays matchups, the first 2 games the Rays outscored the Yankees 14-5. The Yankees won 8-4 that third leg, but then they just beat the Yankees last night 8-2. So that's like a huge big run differential just there alone. Yankees win some of those games, even if it's now by 1 run. They're now looking at like a plus 10 overall.
Yeah,
and they're now in like the division lead.
Yeah, and then take that away from the
Rays. They've got like 3 wins on the season, and they're like minus 40.
Yeah, let's see. Just looking at it, minus 6 from yesterday. The last series. Let's see, plus 4 is minus.
4 or 5.
Take 5 away from that. So, the Yankees alone have without the Yankees so far, that it would be that minus 14 you said would be a minus 24, which is yikes.
Yeah.
But that's why I say
it's minus 18 they have right now.
Oh, then
that's even worse.
Yeah, but that's also why I say that's probably a more,
and that would be the worst in the majors too.
Yeah, that's probably a more concerning thing. Especially when at the moment the Yankees were able to tie it up, so it's 1-1 from this live watch that you're hearing a day or two after. But yeah, back to the AL East. I see that the East will be like that. The West, I think the Angels and the Astros will be in the top tier, and either the A's or the Mariners will be kind of like knocking on the door. The Central, I could still see the Indians, White Sox, and Twins easily winning it, and the Royals, I could see
give some trouble,
and the Tigers, I don't think are going to be as bad as they have been for the last couple of seasons.
That's still minus 20. Still, doesn't sit right for right now.
No, they're not.
It's still early in the season.
They're not going to have a winning record, but what they will have is
they'll have some good bright players.
They won't be competing for the first overall pick like they have. Have been. So that's it. Now I guess 30 minutes in, we got to turn over to the National League.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the East with the Mets and how crazy Soto and Acuna are. The Central, I don't really want to talk about the Central. They're just so blah for me.
Well, that's what I said. The Centrals are always those divisions that kind of are always in the air and are the most volatile. Right now, the NL Central, the Reds are 8-5, the Brewers 7-6, Cardinals 6-7, Pirates 6-8, and the Cubs are 5-8. Granted, as said, early thing, with the exception of the West and the East, no division has their worst player, a team more than 3 out at the moment because it's only 2 weeks in the season.
Yeah.
But I'll say the Cardinals, Arenado has turned out good, but I want to talk about the Brewers because the Brewers have actually been a intriguing team in my opinion. Just because usually, what do you think about when you see the Brewers? You think about Prince Fielder, you think about Ryan Braun, you think about Christian Yelich. You don't.
How terrible their logo is.
Well, their new logo, but
Yeah.
you don't think about their pitching. And let's look at their start. Corbin Burns has 30 strikeouts and no walks to start the season. A third that has, I think, never happened in the modern day. Brandon Woodruff.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Brandon Woodruff, a 2.12 ERA, 19 strikeouts. Adrian Hauser, 1-2, but a 3.14 ERA. Freddie Peralta.
With a 69 ERA.
Yeah,
Nice.
no, a 0.69 ERA.
Yeah.
Not a 69 ERA.
Yeah.
24 strikeouts, all young, and all. Yeah, it's maybe not as the Minnesota Twins have been over the past year. That has always been like the who's pitching of baseball, but
No, who's on first? He doesn't pitch.
no, yeah, jeez. But yeah, that is, yeah. But I would certainly like to take that as the Yankees. Add that to guys like Brent Suter. Brad Boxberger, Josh Hader, the rookie of the year, Devin Williams has been rather unsightly at the moment, but again, 4 outings, early days.
Yeah.
But yeah, their hitting is still trying to click. At least Christian Yelich, no home runs, but at least he's hitting for average, which is more than you could have said last year.
Yeah.
Jackie
Bradley Jr. He's a new acquisition. Not doing too well.
He's never really hit for his career for the most part.
No, but he's always been good with the glove.
Yeah, that's what they got him for.
Yeah.
For Omar Narvaez has hit quickly out of the gate. Shaw has been intriguing, but yeah, their problem is they only have right now 1, 2, 3. They have 4 guys hitting more than 5 people hitting more than 250 on their entire. 6 people hitting on their entire roster, and one of them is Corbin Burns.
Well, he's only played 3 games, so
He's a pitcher.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. One of them is Corbin Burns.
Yeah, but I just I saw RP and I was like, oh, that's right field. I'm like, oh no, field doesn't start with a PH.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and he's got 8 at bats at it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so you have
and it's with 2 RBIs as well.
Yeah. 2 RBIs, so that's said that
it's actually more than the other guys, McKean, Taylor. And,
that's more RBIs than Christian.
It's more yeah. More RBIs than Yelich.
Yeah, so for a rare heel turn, that the Brewers have a hitting problem, but their pitching has been among the best in.
Get
baseball.
Zach Greinke and Madison Bumgarner on this team.
Yeah, well, not Madison Bumgarner. Don't get Madison Bumgarner because he is among the I guess shifting a bit to the West. He and Patrick Corbin and the Nationals have been among the most disappointing performances in baseball right now. Patrick Corbin, who had a COVID bout late in camp, has pitched to an ERA of 21.32.
I'm not saying that he deserves COVID, but he deserves his bad start because he spurned the Yankees.
Well, with giving up 15 earned runs on 12 hits in 6 1/3 innings, he can stay far away from the Yankees. And then Madison Bumgarner on the Nationals has, I feel really bad for him with how this second half of his career has turned into. uh, that he can't seem to get those clutch outs anymore. Looking up his stats for the year, it's currently 0-2 with an 11.20 ERA, 17 earned runs and 22 hits in 13 and 2/3 innings. He's I say that that early starts are bad, but last year he got off to a 6.48 ERA, and following it up with this is not. Now,
do you think he's still Hall of Fame worthy?
I think at this point, this is the second half of his career is going to knock off his Hall of Fame track. Unfortunately,
I mean, he still had a good, solid 10 or so years in San Francisco.
He was on pace, but the problem is, his age 29 season, he was 119 and 92 to finish out his career with the Giants. Even with the injuries, if he had been healthy, he would have had like 150 wins and definitely been on a Hall of Fame pace. But now the last 5 seasons he's 20 and 18, 26, 27. He's 18 and 32. That is not what you want for a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but you also have to remember some of those last few years with the Giants. They were just not very good of teams. So,
well,
because as much as you want to like be old school, and I am too to an extent, looking at the wins and losses, but you can't take that too seriously with the way the game's evolved.
Well, part of that's also because he was hurt during the time. That only 17 starts in 2017, 2018. He had 21 starts. That said, not the more alarming thing was he wasn't throwing as crisp as he was. That he had during the great runs.
2019, he did have over 200 strikeouts, though.
Yeah, but his ERA had jumped from jumped from 274 in 2016, 3.32, 26, 3.90 was the concerning figure. But I didn't think he would turn out this badly. It certainly has knocked the
his walk to strikeout ratio has dipped considerably.
Yeah, him among many reasons why the Diamondbacks have more or less gotten into a rebuilding phase again with being 7 games out. But the other reason is because of the San Diego Padres have firmly said, yeah, we're contending again. And did you see any parts of the game last night? Any highlights of it?
No. Yeah. No, I was doing game night.
Yeah, no. It wasn't a good finish for them. That they lost. I think it was 11-6.
Yeah, I saw the box score. The Dodgers had scored 5 runs in that top half of the inning.
Yeah, but they came back in the 8th inning. They came back in the 9th inning. They almost won it in the 11th inning. That the Padres are definitely saying that their 2020 was not a fluke, that they are ready and willing to contend. The only problem, and the problem for me, has been Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah, you want to talk about a little bit of your fantasy sports right now?
I'll talk about it. This is a good time to say our weekly or bi-weekly, whatever we get to the next episode. Fantasy roundup. Well, the good news of the short of it is I won my first week handily, 11-1-0.
That's good.
This week has not been as good. Currently 3-6-3 with not much time left. But part of that is because of who my opponent has. I'll get to that in a bit. But so my weekly picks, as you know, I started out with Tatis Jr. as my first overall pick, and so far he has hit to a 4 for 24. That's including last night. So So take out last night, and then he was 3 for or like 3 for 19. And on top of that, he got hurt, and it looked like he might have been out for the season.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he
hit a home run last night.
Yeah, he was able to rehab it.
Big home run too.
Yeah. It looks like he'll at least be played. Might not be 100% Tatis, but he'll at least be serviceable, which is at least what I can ask for. The other whiff is, as I said, Trevor Rosenthal needed thoracic outlet syndrome, which that not only is a long recovery time. You don't know what that arm is going to be like, and it's usually negative. See Matt Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
But other stuff. A lot of my guys have gotten off to slow starts. Jeff McNeil is hitting 174. Mountcastle is 204. Yasmani Grandal is hitting $130 and also losing playing time to Mercedes. But some good spots. Colin Moran, who was one of my last picks, 3 home runs and a .313 batting average to go.
Not bad.
To go with a nice shrewd pick. Pitching wise, Kershaw after that rough first start has turned into Kershaw.
Yeah, the Dodgers are now 12-2, so not really a worry there.
Yeah. I haven't gotten much saves because A, the Yankees haven't been doing well, and B, I've had to scramble for backup closers. I picked up Corey Knebel to potentially be a source of saves with how Kenley Jansen has been faltering, and he faltered in a setup opportunity. But then again, Jansen then blew the save himself, so. Hard to tell what's going to happen there, but Knebel is at least looks like he's next in line for saves after Jansen. Pitching wise, I have Adrian Hauser. Hauser's been true. Jake Arrieta has looked good in his first couple of starts. Buster Posey has been a nice pickup. On there. Alec Baum has been nice. And of course, Aaron Judge has so far been my MVP with 4 home runs and 7.
Despite missing several games.
Actually, I say MVP, but Colin Moran has 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, 8 walks. I think actually Colin Moran has been my best hitter so far.
Colin Lemon Meringue Pie?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Also, since I have since picked up J.D. Davis, who was dropped because one player in my league had like 8 people on the injured list at one point and needed to make some moves.
Bad picking on his part.
Yeah. But yeah, I also might do a change in rotation because Rich Hill has gotten off to, and Domingo Germán have not gotten off to the greatest of starts.
I didn't think Domingo Germán was going to do too well. I mean, like I said, the last time he was there and he won 18 games, he still had like a 4 ERA.
Yeah, but I didn't think he'd go to a 9 ERA. I'm thinking another player on that that has been dropped was Patrick Corbin. I think it's ghastly what he's seen. I don't think he's as bad as his ERA is showing right now. That he's a candidate to bounce back, and he's still a good pitcher. So if I pick him up and he rights himself and he throws like a 3.5 ERA the rest of the way, that's something that would be that I would definitely take. I also forgot. I also picked up Kendall Graveman as another potential source of saves for the Mariners. He already has 2 of the season. So with their situation, that might be useful. But yeah, as I said, I won last matchup. This matchup, unfortunately, I've run into my opponent has hit 7 home runs.
Oof.
Already. I've only hit 3 this week, and I haven't gotten as luck. Just to say who I'm facing on team, it's not a lot of big guys, but the bigger names: Brandon Woodruff, Blake Snell. On the pitching side, on the hitting side, Jose Ramirez, Byron Buxton.
That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, Miguel Sano. So, just go. They'll see the totals for so far. Yeah, like in this season, my opponent also Nick Solak, who's been hitting out of his mind in Texas. But just go Wilson Ramos, who had 2 home runs. So yeah, I ran into a spate of hot hitting. Although stupidly, I didn't get that home run from Tatis last night because I forgot to take him off the injured list.
Oh.
Which in fairness wouldn't have mattered for the home run department. But
watch you lose that by like 1 run now.
Well, it won't matter unless I can pick up the other thing. We're tied in runs, which again that would have helped in runs, but tied in stolen bases, tied in saves. I need Kershaw to do well because I'm an earned run and a half out from passing an ERA. I've had no quality starts this week, which is hurt.
Sheesh.
Yeah. What I'm leading in average by a hair, like by 9 thousandths of a percentage.
Oh wow.
I'm leading in strikeouts by 7, and I'm leading in walks and hits per innings pitched by a good margin. So Kershaw should help with that. I also have Mike Minor, who's the only other starting pitcher that I have going for the rest of the week. And if they go well, I might see if I can't pick up someone for tomorrow to try to get a hot hand to help me. But that depends on what else happens.
Now, this is just like a random thought. Have you thought of ditching one of your pitchers and just going in a perpetual rotation and just dropping them like every day?
Yeah, well, I gotta
pick up a new pitcher each time.
I gotta be frugal with that because there is a starting pitching limit of I can only get 11 starts in a week.
Okay.
Plus, also I risk losing them to waivers, and in a league of 20, if I drop the wrong person, I lose him permanently.
Yeah.
So I would have to be careful with who I dropped. Yeah, it'll be interesting. And looking into next week, where I can actually find where my next week's matchup is. But yeah, also reminder: this is just a league I'm doing at work. It is it's for fun, and it is not for.
It's brought to you by it's not brought to you by anything.
No, it's brought. But yeah, next week the guy I am facing is one is actually one of my bosses, and 2
he's going down.
And 2 as guys like Javier Baez, Machado, Anthony Rizzo, Michael Brantley, Shohei Ohtani. A lot of hitting, but pitching-wise, Walker Buehler, Corbin Burns, Adam Wainwright, and Matt Harvey.
The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight, right. So that's definitely going to be a more heavy hitting lineup if it is. So I will definitely take Tatis and other stuff for me. I'm still not worried about my picks. I still think I got a good shot. I still think I could have done a little better, but it's turning out not bad of a team.
Yeah. Just to shed some light on that Yankees-Rays game, it's still 1-1, top of the first. Montgomery's got 6 strikeouts.
Top of the fourth.
Or top of the fourth, with 1 out.
Yeah.
The 1 for 1 out is right underneath the word top.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Montgomery is a guy I like that they're going to give a longer look. He's always been. Yeah. I've looked at him as being a good, and now that he has a spot in the rotation, that should be good. But we're 55 minutes into our first episode.
I just do want to talk. I know we were chit-chatting about this right before we rolled, but if I didn't tell you what the average annual salary for a baseball player would be. What would you imagine it would be with all these ridiculous contracts that have been given out?
I know a couple of years ago the average was, I think, $2.5 million. I think that was 2018 or 2019. The last with the virus and all that, a bunch of new young players have come up, and the major league minimum is like $550 now, something like that, something around that mark. So
See,
I
I would have
imagine
imagined most contracts were $6-7 million, just because we keep seeing a lot of these 10, 20. Now we're getting to the $35-40 million a year contracts, but it's actually it dropped 4.8% to 4.17 million on opening day.
This is the median contract, right?
So the average of all the opening day starters.
Yeah.
2017 is when it peaked at 4.45 million. So it's gone down. The median salary, where you have the equal number of players above and below, on the side, if you line them all up and you cut them in half, which is 902 players, is nowhere near that 4.17 million. It's actually 1.15 million. And of those 902 players, 417 of them are under $1 million, including 316 of them are under $600,000.
Yeah.
Which I'd still take $600,000 as my yearly salary.
Yeah, but remember,
But these guys are traveling. They gotta have all these top tier protein shakes and everything else.
They've also spent several years in the minor leagues making virtually nothing.
Yeah. So these guys probably aren't doing too well on $600,000 a year.
No.
With all the crazy expenses they have.
The ones that got nice signing bonuses when they got drafted or picked out of the Latin or South America, yes, but the rest of them maybe not as much.
Yeah, and then for the opening day payrolls, the highest and by far by over $40 million is the Dodgers with $241 million and change. The lowest being the Pirates at $45 million. So that's a big discrepancy we have here. I mean, the Rays are still towards the bottom, and we've always said they've been one of the top teams. So we assume they'll get better and be better than that horrible run differential we see right now.
Yeah, well, actually that's a little deceiving, because the Orioles have 23,840,000 on their active payroll right now, which is yikes. I know they're not contending, but still, this is they have a winning percentage of 4.29 at the moment with those wins. Heck, even the Colorado Rockies, which are terrible, they're still spending $80 million. A lot of it's on dead money, especially the $50 million they sent to St. Louis to get rid of Nolan Arenado for some reason. But compare that to the bottom 10. Only one team in the bottom 15 is paying more than $100 million at the moment, which is the Twins. The Reds and the Rockies on technicalities are paying more, but at the moment they got enough people on the injured list or throwing money away that they're not.
Yeah, but this is just a discrepancy of these payrolls ranging from 50 million to almost 240 million. This really should not be a thing.
Yeah. They
really should fix this and have a minimum you have to spend and be all right, you got to spend at least $80 million or something.
Yeah.
And then, as much as you want to see all these players on here, yes, these players and some of these billionaires can afford to pay these guys $40 billion a year, but it comes at a cost to the fans too. So ticket prices have to go up, food prices have to go up, parking around the stadiums is going to go up. So even though we're like, oh yeah, we just signed all these great all-stars, the fans are still really paying for, I think, a lot of this indirectly.
Oh, as they always do, especially when we found out that baseball needed the fans when the owners cried poor.
Yeah. So I really think, I mean, the players aren't going to like that if they're told, well, in some of the poorer markets, like Pirates, Orioles, Marlins, Rays, if they're being forced to do at least like $80 million, some guys are going to get some more pay raises. But teams like the Dodgers and Yankees and the Mets, if they're told, all right, now you can't go over $180 million to like make it a little bit more fair, some of those guys then might not be getting paid as much.
Yeah, and also you got to look at ownership groups, like I said, see what the Mets do now that they don't have the coupons running them. David Glass, I believe that's his name, the new owner of the Kansas City Royals. City Royals owner, who's actually said we're going to field a competitive team within the next couple of years. See what he does in spending. It really comes down to the owners and willing to spend most of the time. If the owners wanted to spend, they will. John Sherman. Sorry, Glass was the previous owner, but John Sherman and Patrick Mahomes technically too. That if the owners want to spend, they will spend. Look at the Pirates. Bob Nutting is never spent for that team. Yep. The A's have always cried that we have a terrible stadium and use that as an excuse to never field a proper team. Looking at the Cubs, which is a big market team, but they said, "Oh, we refuse to spend over the cap." Even if it's $1 over, we won't spend. And look what that's gotten them the last couple of years. And the Padres, who had their owners say we're gonna actually spend a team and spend it right. They tried it once before, they failed, and all right, we didn't do this right. We got to actually build a farm system first before we do that, and that's paid dividends for them.
Just to, I guess, not get away from baseball, but we've done
acknowledge some other sports.
Just some quick touch on the NFL, NBA, and NHL real quick. I guess the big thing in recent days is that Rams all-star defensive end Aaron Donald was accused of assaulting some guy and beating him up, but it turns out that guy was lying POS, and Donald is not the guy who beat him up. He mistook him for somebody else. So that's good that we don't have another story of some football player beating somebody up. So that's a bright line on all of this. And I know there's been some other minor things.
There's been a lot, but that's what happened on the 2 weeks.
Let's leave that out. And Tom Brady's career turns 21 years old. He tweeted out his career can now legally drink. So we'll leave the NFL on a fun note for this week. The NBA, there's Dwayne Wade, the Miami Heat star. He won 3 championships with them. Is now part owner for the Utah Jazz. Not really sure what his connection is there, but he is. Sixers and Nets keep trying to fight it out for the number 1 seed. The Bucks are right behind them. And meanwhile, 4th through 10th place in the Eastern Conference are all within games of each other. The Pacers at 12.5 back, and the Atlanta Hawks in the 4 seed, 9 back from the 76ers. So that's only a 3.5 game span right there. The Celtics have been doing better. They've won 5 in a row, but the Knicks are right behind them, also winning 5 in a row. Both with 30 wins now on the season, tied with the Hawks with 30 for that 4th spot there. So these teams are looking to make a push. The Miami Heat have been doing better as of late. They've lost 3 in a row, but they've definitely been better from the start of their season.
Yeah.
Same with the Wizards, doing a little bit better to start out. So if they can somehow, these last couple of games, make the jump to get into the weird playoff system between Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, that might be a big problem to have, especially as the Bulls have been in a 5-game spiral. Jazz and Suns in the West, they're still fighting it out at the top there. Jazz with 42 wins, Phoenix Suns with 40. Clippers are behind them at 39, Nuggets with 36. Lakers still missing a lot of people. They're in that 5th spot. They're probably going to drop a little bit more, but once they get LeBron back and healthy, and hopefully Anthony Davis, well, I mean, for me, not hopefully, because I don't want the Lakers to win.
Of course you do.
But hopefully for the Lakers' sake, Anthony Davis comes back healthy. I think they might be the most dangerous team in the Western Conference, because they were towards the top of that division at the conference at the beginning of the year, and then those injuries took place. So I think once those guys come back, they'll figure it out and they'll do really well. Because unlike LeBron's first year, where he got injured kind of early in the season, the Lakers just couldn't dig themselves out of a hole. They started off so strong that they've been slacking as of late. But they built themselves up enough where they could afford the blow and still maintain a playoff spot in this like really tight Western Conference. I mean, the Warriors, who were like pretty handicapped these last like season and a half, have been struggling lately. They're in that 9th spot right now, but they're only a couple of games out really of like an actual playoff spot. But I think they're in contention for that play-in round. Which a lot of the players don't seem really keen on right now. So that's looking like that. I don't think there's any crazy other storylines going. Oh, the Celtics signed former number 2 overall pick Jabari Parker. I guess he just was a pick that didn't really work out with the Bucks a couple of years ago. Hockey. That's been a little bit more. They just had the trade deadline, like Monday, I think it was, something like that. But they're playing a shortened season, and there's only like 15 games left in the season. What do you make of that?
It's 2020 and 2021. I know it's a year back, but we're still getting the ramifications of the odd circumstances surrounding the last year plus going for them. Hockey, I know I watched a bit of the trade deadline video where not much really happened at the deadline. Most of it happened a few days ahead of time. That there wasn't as
there weren't like too many big names really.
No.
Moving much,
which I think leads to what it is, that a lot of these teams, like they know they're winning, but they don't know how they stand against the rest of the NHL because they're still bubbled up. They're the only sport that's still bubbled up at the moment.
And some of these teams have been like crazy. Some of like the Canucks have been missing a bunch of games as of late because of COVID outbreaks, so that stuff's been shut down for a bit. They're only at 37 games, while some of these other teams are at like 45 games. So the Bruins have been ahead, basically had the same amount of wins as like the Rangers and the Flyers for a while, but they had played less games, so they've been sort of making them up. So now they're ahead in that 4th spot right there that those 3 teams have been sort of fighting for. So the Bruins with 54 points, Rangers with 48, Flyers with 46, and there's only like maybe like 12 games left in this season, and I don't know if the Rangers are going to be able to catch them. I don't think the Flyers are going to go on a streak. I mean, they've got a minus 30 goal differential. I don't think they're really contenders. They're more pretenders now. But the Rangers have been sort of coming alive as of late, going 6-2-2, winning 2 games straight. Both shutouts against the lowly Devils, but that's really good for morale.
Yeah.
if you want to put it into that perspective. They've still got 2 more games to go on. They've got it with the Devils today, and then they've got another one with the Devils tomorrow in a weird at New Jersey, home, and then at New Jersey. Then they go against the Islanders, who they split a series with. They're losing another game by 1 goal. So then we've got the Islanders, 2 against Philly, 2 against Buffalo, and then so hopefully those are all wins there. And then you got to play 2 against the Islanders, 2 against the Capitals, and the last 2 games against the Boston Bruins, which could make or break depending on how they do against the Islanders and Capitals. Those previous games, those 2 games in Boston, very well might decide who gets that number 4 seed. So this is going to make for, I think, some exciting hockey down the stretch. The Rangers are finding themselves, even if they don't make the playoffs this year, I think that they've shown that they can at least hang with some of these top teams here, because you're only playing your division this year to sort of minimize teams crossing over with each other.
Yeah.
So while some of these other divisions like the Hurricanes, Lightning, and Panthers, those guys are up close in the division there. And then you've got like the Avalanche and Knights real close up there. That East Division, which is normally I think the Metropolitan now, those teams are all like fighting for each other, and just Rangers are just losing 1-goal games, which is what's separating basically everybody. So that's sort of that on that sort of instance. And then I guess for NASCAR, Martin Truex Jr. is the first 2-race winner, which is exciting, I guess.
Yeah, and also the Masters tournament in Augusta happened as scheduled. There was talk that maybe it would be postponed because of the Georgia voting law, like how the All-Star game got moved for MLB, but it happened.
Yes.
And congratulations to Hideki Matsuyama being the first Asian-born the Asian player to win the Augusta champion.
And then be all by himself at the airport as everyone memed the hell out of him for whatever weird obsessive reason.
Yeah, but it's putted had a -10 score, beating Will Zalatoris by 1 point, by 1 stroke, excuse me. And the other performance of the past couple weeks, we forgot to talk about it. Joe Musgrove throwing the first no-hitter for the San Diego Padres history. Now all 30 franchises in Major League Baseball have thrown a no-hitter, and this will stand for all of time until we get 2 more expansion teams in the somewhat future.
Yeah.
But that's been what we've missed the past couple of weeks in sports.
Yeah. And now we have our new longest episode.
Yay!
So, yay!
Well,
we're missing.
Yeah. Well, so before it gets any longer, Joe, it has been a pleasure as always. Hopefully, it won't be as long between.
Yes, because my vocal cords are shot.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess the update: Gary Sanchez just got taken out of the game for the Yankees, so that might be something of a concern to watch.
That's not good at all.
Don't know what happened. Obviously, we haven't been watching outside of the game.
Tampa Bay's now up 3-1.
Yeah. So that's a concerning thing to watch, but we'll probably talk, if it's serious enough, we'll be talking about it next time. So see you guys then.